I've said a few times on the show, the biggest representation of hip hop I've ever met in my lifetime is Shane L.S. Dennis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion,
the Unity.
Hell yeah. He's the biggest. In my opinion, he is hip.
It's crazy that I know his name.
Because he is his entire community. He puts his all into his community. He's not just, I'm a rapper. He's the worth of his community. You know what I'm saying? You remove him from that community's got some problems.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, his soul is that community, and that's what hip hop is. So someone could completely give their soul to something. You could tell. And you could tell when someone's just doing something, they're faking the funk. You know what I mean? And that's appropriation. When someone's faking the funk, that's
one thing you just said actually made me kind of come to a realization. But you know how everybody talks about all these different changes in hip-hop and the years and stuff and how it's going certain directions. But do you know what the biggest loss, I think, really to hip-hop has been that really has affected it? It's the fact of what you just said. And it's most people are hip-hop for self. Yeah. There's very few people that are hip-hop for community.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even like myself, I'm like hip-hop for self. You know what I mean? Like, I love hip-hop and stuff.
But like, you do so much for the community without even knowing. Like, you're doing this for self.
I do the media, you know.
All the media stuff you're doing, whether you know it or not, it's for community.
Well, because it comes from a place of love. You know what I mean? But it's like...
And that's the difference between you and someone who's going to sit here and say, oh, man, rap sucks today, blah, 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 this and that. I miss Dr. Dre. I miss, Wu-Tang. I miss this. And they don't even give 1% of anything that's out today and listen to be like, maybe that's actually kind of dope. They're not hip-hop fans. They like rap from a certain perspective at time. You're doing it out of love, and that's the difference between a rap fan and a hip-hop fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why we got to big up Vlad. Like, a lot of people, he's a culture vulture, he's a this, that. But he comes from the essence...
Man, he grew up breakdancing when, like, the only record on the radio was
and he's one of the few white boys that was part of the culture and grew up in the culture. Now you can look at him and, he's this guy with a media thing, and he's making all his money off of black stories. But majority of people in the rap music are black.
Yeah. I think. And did you see the two guys that own Genius? Oh, man. They're two people you don't want representing culture.
But didn't Nas invest in the Genius? Like,
yeah, he did. Well, I always thought it was his thing, but he's kind of the face that's like used to sell it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or no, but he's... Oh, yeah.
Minority investor or something.
Exactly. Kind of like the same way that, like, the whole Barclays thing, and now people are getting really pissed off because it kind of fucked up Brooklyn really badly and the whole...
But Brooklyn was already fucked up, man.
And they used Jay-Z as the face to sell the idea, and then he basically bought himself
like 1%, right?
Yeah, and he got bought out like immediately and just like flipped a huge amount of money. Took like 1.5 million or something real quick. Like he has nothing to do with it anymore.
I was gonna say back to Vlad. Like the only reason why I think people beef with Vlad because they're willing to sit in front of a camera and snitch on themselves. Yeah. And then because he reports it, they're calling him a vulture because of it. But you have people that are willing. They're hip hop.
They're not forced.
They're willing to sit in front of him because he's given the platform.
Right.
But that's always been hip hop culture. They do it in their music.
Yeah.
What's the difference between doing it in the music versus doing it in front of a camera?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a big thing. Like people in hip hop, especially when it comes to like some street aspect, they'll they feel like it's cool to say it. But then when other people repeat what they say, then they're the snitch or...
but you said it!
And the thing is, Vlad has been doing this forever. Yeah. It's not like he just started, you know what? I'm going to interview all these motherfuckers and make money off of them.
And this is why I think Joe Budden, I got mad respect for Joe Budden. And I think he's got one of the best comebacks of all time. But...
Did he ever really fall off, though? Like, I feel like he never really, fell off.
Man, Pump It Up was a record. He had a very underground career from that point.
I feel like maybe he didn't live up to his full expectations. I don't feel like he really fell off. He always had that potential.
No, he was a great artist because he kept it. He kept integrity and started making records what he wanted to do. He didn't want to be the Pump It Up guy.
No, that's
what I mean. He didn't want to keep following that trend.
I think he liked his cult following more than being that Pump It Up guy because
I think if he really liked his cult following that much, though, he'd still be rapping.
I feel you. I get what you're saying.
Once something else seemed like, well, he does.
I think it's also hard being
shit.
Yeah,
exactly. That's
what he's best at. Budden's a good rapper, but he's a way better media person.
That and putting so much of his personal life into his music probably took a toll on his personal life at the end of the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna talk all that shit about your family. It's gonna come back. Like his son. I know he's working with his son doing stuff, but his son put out a track of and whatnot. But it's gonna take its toll on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But regardless, I don't think he really fell off. I just think he didn't blow up the way some people expected.
No, exactly.
To others,
I mean, but you can remember in the 2000s, like if someone brought up Joe Budden's name, you're like, oh, like immediately the thought in your head was washed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, up until like Slaughterhouse, basically, it was like Joe Budden was washed. Like,
I don't know,
unless you followed him, he was washed.
See, I'd say
he was sick.
He was still on the
I'm talking from the I'm talking from the perspective of the average
artist.
Fan.
I think
like the average, not even fan, just the average consumer.
I think what Joe Budden's did that he doesn't get the credit for is he kind of ushered in the whole emo rap shit. Yeah. Aside from Eminem, you know what I mean? If he did more so, you know what I mean? And that's where he really got his call from. This guy's putting out 10-minute songs where he's smoking cigarettes, come take a walk with me and all this shit. And you're listening, you're like, yo, man, this guy got a lot going on in his fucking life. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Every song is like that. You know what I'm saying? And what it became was like, okay, you don't have to be a gangster. You can be a regular ass dude who'll still throw down if you have to. You can be a regular ass dude with some real ass fucking problems and put that shit on. People will respect that. And I think he doesn't get the credit for kind of being that regular ass dude that made it.
He kind of ushered in this like internet hip hop media. He kind of
did that as well, right? So
he's actually an innovator a lot.
Yeah, remember Joe Budden TV?
He did the show on what, Hot 97 or whatever, early on in his career, like first hip hop rapper to really be a media personality even too. Like, you know what I mean? Before.
So he deserves a lot of credit for, you know, for
he's actually like, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't discredit him as an artist. When I was saying he was washed, I mean, talking from a general perspective.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
His name is not the first name.
If you followed him, you fucked with him. You know what I mean? But like, you
that's
know,
100% fact.
He was doing shows in Hamilton at like a 200 capacity. You know what I mean? And it probably wasn't full. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Like, no disrespect. But that's what I'm saying. It's like,
and this is why
he was washed from a general perspective.
You know what's crazy though, and this is why I love hip hop.
Wait,
about a year. Hold on, let me just finish. About a year before it really blew up.
Yeah.
Nori was doing across, you know, your Drunk Uncle tour.
Yeah.
Here in Canada. You know what I'm saying? And it was decent.
And then he bailed out.
Then obviously he bailed out, but then Drink Champs blows up to the biggest motherfucker show. I guarantee you, no one could book that tour again. You know what I'm saying? For the amount of money they booked at that time, they got paid probably 10 times
what
they
paid to come to Toronto.
Yeah.
I would love a Drink Champs.
That'd be dope.
But I feel like it's only like people who are cool with people are allowed there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they sell tickets. Like, they're in those rooms, and then, you know, there's like 50 people off camera who all like...
G1 will be in there while we texting, like, yo, did you get a sit, homie?
Hey. Get me in.
Yeah.
Or there should be... Well, we could... I'm not saying we should be a version of Drink Champs. I don't want to be a version of anything.
Nah.
Cheers.
We're just us.
On that note, cheers.
What's the phrase?
Cheers.
Not unapologetic. You say it. You got it. The unapologetic.
You haven't said that in a minute.
You ain't said it in a minute. It was the catchphrase.
Yeah, not unapologetically white, not unapologetically black.
We're just unapologetically us.
Yeah. Make some noise. I need to crack a beer for that. But the one point I did want to make, the whole reason we brought up Joe Budden was the fact that, like, just talking about, like, you know, like, they call Vlad this and that for taking things. And, you know, through all the growth Budden's had, I think he's crazy immature, and I think because it's so personal, but the fact that he hates Vlad as much as he still does over the ransom video.
Oh, where he got punched?
And it's not like Vlad took the camera there and filmed. Yeah. Like, that shit was already online. He just reported it because it was online. And that's exactly, it's like the same shit people call him a fucking Fed for today. It's like, you say some shit on IG. And Akademiks does the same shit, but he doesn't get those claims.
Yeah. No, he does.
Does he?
Yeah, Nipsey got at him, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, I know Nipsey got at him.
People.
Yeah.
The whole of Chicago.
Fucking, what's the guy's name? My Zone. Whole bunch of people.
My Zone don't like him. Yeah.
But he's a kind of a culture vulture.
He's more a culture vulture than Vlad.
Yeah.
100%.
How do you feel so?
Because he came up in the culture, but he didn't. He came up off the internet.
Yeah, and he never went back and learned to respect the culture from the jump.
But what's respect the culture, though?
When they talk about shit that like is just
Akademiks is also
regarded, like you know, like when we talk about Rakim, you just regard him as a goat, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most people do.
Yeah.
But people from a certain culture, like point of the culture and forward, a certain generation, like they don't even do the research to even know. Like they don't even know who he is. They've heard people say his name in interviews and shit, and it just goes over their heads because it's just some name. Like I don't know who that is.
But I kind of feel like
he's just like a cloud chaser, man.
You think so?
Yeah, overall, what he chooses to report on. The angles, like I used to watch him a lot.
He's more of a culture vulture than Adam22.
Was Adam22? No,
I didn't even feel like Adam22 is, but I understand what you're saying.
No, because when he interviews OGs, he actually knows about them. Yeah. And he's honest about it. That's the thing I like. He doesn't sit here and like do research on a couple points and be like, oh yeah, that like he's like, like I didn't hear you till like 95, but when I did, like this song was my shit, and like he's very just honest about it. So it's not vulture the culture. You know what I mean? But Akademiks is just like...
I feel like Akademiks does a lot of honest perspective, too.
Yeah, from his perspective.
But he didn't go back to learn the culture he's talking about. Like
which culture are we talking about? Like,
hip-hop culture.
So...
He's more into whatever's happening now. He doesn't know what happened then. And he doesn't care.
When it's like he knows the facts, but he never took the time to actually fall in love with it. He just like went and like searched the footnotes, so he's like, well, I know this happened. Okay, cool.
How old is he, though?
I don't know.
That's exactly the point that I was
trying to make.
Like, but you can't expect. Okay, it's one thing to know the culture, right? But so if somebody grows up in a time where post 50 Cent era, if all they know is post 50 Cent, are they a culture vulture or are they ignorant for not doing the research back?
I wouldn't say
ignorant.
I wouldn't even say
so.
That.
Are we ignorant as hip hop fans for not going back as far as Africa Bambaataa and all that stuff?
I did.
I didn't.
Are we?
I did.
I wouldn't say.
I went back further than that. I went back to fucking all the jazz artists they were sampling and all the source records and everything. Like
you're a producer, you know what I'm saying? As a producer, you're supposed to do that. You know what I mean?
I don't call him a culture vulture for that. I call him a culture vulture.
And as a DJ, he's supposed to do that.
No, just because of the way he approaches certain stories and how, like even with the 6ix9ine situation, he was on some fucked up shit. Mm-hmm. You kind of played along with it all the way until he got
till the wheels fell off. He's like, okay, I gotta hop off this train.
Exactly. And right. You could have said, yo, chill, but you know what I mean? Like,
I told him. He said he tried. He tried.
Yeah, Fat Joe did it off the bat.
But hold on, he just said that he told him.
He said he did. He said he told him multiple
but he was still rolling with it though.
He was still promoting it.
That's the whole point.
He warned him, but he was still promoting the.
That's what I'm saying.
But real life is different than media.
And then 6ix9ine.
Media, you're still rolling with it. It looks like you're rolling with it.
But what it looks like isn't necessarily
what you do in private is what you do in private.
Well, another thing is, dude goes to jail.
I can do it a certain way in private, and in public, I could be on some other shit. Yeah. You're gonna look at me funny. You're like, how the fuck you like me like this in public?
Not if you know
obviously, but you're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck's going on?
Well, the thing with 6ix9ine too.
On the outside, but if me and you know that we're still good.
So if I disrespect you in public, and then I'm like, oh, yo, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, and I do it all the time.
Yeah. If we have
like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Here's an example of that.
Yeah.
How often does Budden disrespect people in their face, but he's still good with them behind the scenes?
Well, he's got beat up a number of times because he's brutally honest.
But at the same time, too, the same brutal honesty. I know that he's.
I know Akademiks doesn't go outside.
There you go. But like, you know what I mean. But Akademiks is a whole different thing. But I'm talking about like just the fact that he slips at the tongue, but he'll apologize behind the scenes, and he can still keep it moving because me and you know we're good.
Yeah.
Outside is what it looks like, but is our relationship strong enough to mask what it looks like on the outside? Can that happen so much in
well, that's the thing. That's what makes Budden great is that like someone he's cool with will drop something, and if he ain't feeling it, he'll be like, "It was alright." Like he'll be honest. He's like, and then sometimes
so that's the thing,
he gets his shit.
I find like Act is not that honest.
No, if he thinks you're cool with, if he thinks you're his boy, he'll ride.
Act to me seems real skittish. Like to me, it seems like he's real young.
I used to watch this shit a lot. I don't pay attention anymore.
He seems mad skittish and mad young to me. You know? Like he seems really awkward in interviews to me and comes across awkward across the screen.
I'd rather kick it with Casino.
And you know what? Like you're right to a sense. I don't think he necessarily understands. I'm not saying understands. I don't think he really cares about the culture per se past a certain point. Yeah. But I also think he's still kind of young. And if he is in his 30s, I feel like he's a little just slightly immature. I don't know. It could just be
him, whatever. That money.
But at the same time, it boils down to what I said though. There's rap fans and there's hip hop fans, just like there's basketball fans and there's NBA fans. If you're just a fan of the NBA, you don't care about the Harlem Globetrotters. You don't care about Europe. You don't care about the Canadian ball. You don't care about the women's league. But if you're a ball fan, you care about all those things, right? And that's Akademiks, same thing. He don't care about breakdancers. He don't care about DJs. Like he cares about getting his money online and whatever rapper he could latch onto at the moment and make that money with. You know what I'm saying? But you don't really care about a culture like that.
Yo, what's up? It's your man, MLNY, Maloney, Breaking Wreckords Radio. You know what it is. I'm just here to tell you guys right now that you want to, if any of my smokers out there, basically, any of my Canadian smokers, now that it's legal, what you got to do is you got to head over to thccollection.com and check them out. And make sure you use the promo code HIPHOP. That's HIPHOP. And that's all capital letters. Save 10% on every purchase that you make. Anytime. They got everything. They got deals every single day of the week, which include like free whatever with whatever you buy. And my favorite is Tulip Tuesday. You can get $100 ounces, and that's only on Tuesdays. And you save 10% on every purchase with the promo code HIPHOP, all caps. That's HIPHOP. So make sure you go over there, check them out. That's thccollection.com for all your good medical needs, for all your good greenery, your extracts, and all that good stuff.